Welcome to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast with your host, Brandon Seigel. I'm a published author, speaker, entrepreneur, and private practice strategist dedicated to transforming the way that healthcare functions. This podcast is all about empowering you to create the change you want to see. Let's dive in. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning into this quick tip episode. Guess what? Today, we're talking about something very important. We're talking about smashing cancellations, strategizing how to maximize your output. You got it. No visits, no money, no honey. We got the whole game. Let's make it happen. How do we get our arrival rate up, our cancellations down? Let's start with the cancellation effect. So here's the bottom line. Cancellations and no-shows have a measurable financial and operational toll on private practices. Specifically, I want you to think with this. Here are some key statistics and insights. From a revenue standpoint, cancellations and no-shows can cost a practice 15 to 20% of potential revenue annually. 15 to 20%. That is huge. So I'll say it this way. Imagine if, for round numbers, we have $1 million practice. What if I told you that your cancellations were costing you $200,000 of earning? $200K. Would you do something about it? Hopefully. So for practices with $500,000 in annual revenue, that could be $75,000 to $100,000 in lost income, depending. We just don't know. So I think these are things that are really important. So revenue loss, that's the first thing that happens with cancellation. Number two, and this is where I find you often know that you're losing revenue, but you don't understand this deficit. Cancellations are creating operational inefficiency. So what that means is that approximately 20 to 35% of appointments in private practices experience cancellations or no-shows, with last-minute cancellations being particularly disruptive as they leave little time to fill slots. So high cancellation rates will lead your staff underutilized. And with that, 10 to 15 hours per week managing, rescheduling, follow-ups, etc. So here's the deal with this operational inefficiency. Either you're losing out and you're paying your staff to do nothing or do something that's not as valuable, or they're missing out. The number one reason why employees leave a company when they are paid for production is because of the amount of lost revenue based on cancellations. The other thing you have to factor in is how much time do you spend in rescheduling and calling and moving and this and that. It's huge. So at the end of the day, we have to have a better solution. Patient care impact. So this is another piece that we don't always translate. When someone is reliant on what you do, frequent cancellations will disrupt treatment plans. Studies are showing that inconsistent attendance can actually reduce patient outcomes by 30% in fields like physical therapy. So I want to be crystal clear. If I told you, come in, you're in pain, and I said, but when you cancel, I'm not able to reduce your pain by 30%. That outcome will never reach its full fulfillment. That's part of the reason why I'm like, okay, here's what you need to do. Here's the transactional commitment, and here's the transformation you're going to get. No-shows are particularly prevalent in OTPT speech practices. I see it so high, where as much as 40% of initial appointments may be missed, in which delaying care and increasing dropout rates. Now, I have taken practices from what I'm going to call a 40% cancellation. Now, that's high, but that's factoring every single inquiry that was misrepresented and misscheduled. And I've put in systems, policies, and procedures where we are under 10% with an average of 4 to 6% lost appointments. I know people that have done better. I'm not perfect, but it's better than most. When I see a practice averaging above 10% cancellation no-show, that's where I get concerned. And when I look at cancellation no-show, I'm looking at the amount of appointments that are lost, that there are slots that are not filled as a result of that cancellation. So the other thing with the cancellation effect, we've got an issue where it's constraining our practice growth because practices with high cancellation rates are struggling to scale because they have unpredictable schedules and there's a lack of stability. So it's difficult to hire staff, and we're not able to invest in those growth initiatives. The best practices have the lowest cancellation rate, the highest on-site arrival rate. And so it's really critical how we look at that, because now here's a big thing. When practices have high cancellation, we find staff retention struggle. Staff retention's impacted with caseloads and they're inconsistent. Employees are not confident, all these different things. It's tough. Just being honest, it's tough. So you need to recognize that effect that cancellations have. So now here is what I want you to do. I want you to maximize your delivery and I want you to overcome cancellations. I want you to implement and enforce a clear cancellation policy. Create a written policy requiring 48 to 72 hours of notice for changes, inclusive when allowed, that you have fees for late cancellations and no-shows. Share this policy during the inquiry stage, during the intake stage, on your website, and with appointment confirmations. Why this works? At the end of the day, a firm policy is going to set expectations. You're going to leverage scarcity. Patients are less likely to cancel when they know where their financial consequence is. And so at the end of the day, it's really important. We got to make it stupid simple. You show up, you get care. You cancel, you pay. You cancel too much, you're gone. Again, within compliance. We need to leverage automated reminders. We need to look at what is out there. There are lots of ways that we can automate reminders and confirmations. Use practice management software to send automated text, email, phone reminders, 48 hours, 24 hours, 2 hours, all different ways. Whether you're using software like a Curogram or whatever it may be, there's plenty of options here. So why does it work? Reminders reduce forgetfulness, a leading cause of no-shows, by up to 40%. So what if you could literally reduce cancellations by just having confirmation requirements? Every single appointment requires a confirmation at 48 hours. That would be helpful. Personalize your reminders with patient's name and appointment. Make sure it's HIPAA compliant to build rapport. January 28th through the 31st, 2026, Coral Gables, Florida. Your business is on the track. Are you ready to hit top speed? The Growth Code Conference is your pit stop for 4 days of proven strategies, precision leadership tools, and a tuned-up growth plan. Leave the slow lane behind and accelerate toward your best season yet. Register now at growthcodeconference.com. Here's something that I also recommend. Build strong patient responsibility and relationships. Focus on delivering exceptional care and fostering trust through empathy, active listening, consistent results. I have found that there tends to be trends and that there are certain practitioners that have higher cancellations than others. And it ultimately usually comes down to one of two things. Either there's not a strong patient responsibility relationship, or they don't value the services, just being honest. So when they don't value the patient responsibility, it means that practitioner is not tough to be like, look, I need you to show up. You just took an hour out of my day. Every minute matters. So what would you do if I took an hour from you every day that you didn't expect? We got to put this into context. But patients who feel valued are less likely to cancel. So it is that combination of buy-in, progress, and accountability. We need to optimize our schedule. We need to overschedule. We need to minimize gaps. We need to use a waitlist system to fill last minute cancellations quickly. We need to have flexible scheduling options such as evening or telehealth appointments. And we need to have a true wait list that can fill 80% of canceled slots within hours, while flexible scheduling will reduce the cancellation. Use different softwares, whether it's Acuity or different, practice management softwares, etc. Plenty of softwares that can take place to help you with this. Here's another thing. What if we incentivized attendance? What if we offer small incentives for consistent attendance throughout the month, such as, hey, every month that you come in for 100% of your delivery, you're going to get a 20-minute complimentary massage. I'm just throwing the idea out there, but positive reinforcement increases patient engagement, commitment, reduces no-show. And what we've found is that we've seen a 20% improvement when a positive loyalty program is implemented. So promote that incentive program in reminders and social media. The other thing we want to do is we want to track and analyze the data. We want to come to the root cause. What's going on? Why are we canceling? We need to look at who's canceling, when they're canceling, why they're canceling. Is there a patient census that cancels? So you may say, hey, Brandon, all my cancels are Medicaid. Well, then we need to really look at, are we meant to be this? Is this going to be sustainable? Because when people don't show up, we can't provide accessible care. Accessibility requires arrival. We need to educate patients on the value of consistency. During your consultations, your evaluations, everything, we need to understand, we need them to buy in. We're here to show you a program. You need to be ready, willing, and able to show up, sign up. This is what it's going to be. Are you in it to win it? So when we're looking at this to truly maximize your practice's delivery and output, I want you to consider these additional strategies to streamline operations and boost revenue. So I want you to look at batch scheduling, grouping similar appointments, evals, follow-ups to reduce context switching and increase efficiency. This can boost your daily output between 10 and 15%. I want you to delegate administrative tasks like hiring a virtual assistant or training staff to handle scheduling, billing, and reminders, freeing up 5 to 10 hours for patient care or marketing. Getting that groove, getting them there, getting that daily reminders set up. I want you to expand your revenue streams. So offering different ways, workshops, online courses, groups, one-to-one, all different things so that we're adding revenue in different ways. And then I want you to invest in ROI-based marketing, SEO optimized content, attract new clients, fill that schedule. Finding your right client is more important than just finding a client. Did you know a 2023 Statista report showed that private practices implementing cancellation reduction strategies like automated reminders, simple things like that, decreased cancellations by 30%. They were able to boost their output by 12%. In the words of Winston Churchill, success is the ability to go from one failure to another with no loss of enthusiasm. Thank you for tuning into this quick tip episode. Remember, together we can thrive, not just survive. Thank you for tuning in to the Private Practice Survival Guide podcast. I'm incredibly grateful to each and every one of you. Exciting news. We're now available everywhere, from Spotify to Apple Podcasts to YouTube or anywhere you like to listen to your podcasts. So watch, listen, and reach out. If you love this episode, please drop a 5-star review. It truly means the world to me. Are you looking for more ways to elevate your practice? If so, now is your chance. Reach out, go to my website, or email me at brandon@wellnessworksmp.com. And remember, it's not just about surviving, it's about thriving.